So thanks for joining us today. We want to talk to you about our Connected Systems Institute. And this is a great example of how industry-academic partnership can work when it's at its greatest. I'm Jennifer Abele at UW-Milwaukee, and I oversee our corporate engagement industry-academic partnership.
And I'm Joseph Zacaria. I'm part of Rockwell Automation in the Global Academics group, and we work with academic institutions here in Wisconsin and also outside in the rest of the country to help enable development and expansion and adoption of Industry 4.0 technologies, techniques, and methods.
So Joe and I work together on a very regular basis, as well as the rest of his team. This project is supported from the very top of both of our organizations. And that's one of the keys to success for a really strong industry academic partnership is having CEOs and people right at the top line involved and engaged. So let's tell you a little bit about CSI. So we actually work together with Rockwell, Microsoft, and some of our other partners to develop the vision and the mission for the Institute. We spent quite a bit of time on this because we wanted to get it right and make sure we were addressing the right things. So our vision is to be a specialized multidisciplinary institute focused on industrial IoT that's going to help companies prepare for the digital transformation through collaboration between industry, academia, and government.
So the mission is to provide education, research, and create the talent pipeline so that we can actually support the expansion and adoption of these advanced technologies within the manufacturing sector in Wisconsin.
And the Institute has 4 focus areas. We chose those 4 focus areas based on feedback that we got from our industry partners to make sure that we were really addressing what industry needs and what is appropriate for a 4-year college to provide. So the first one is to collaborate. We want to foster an ecosystem of like-minded members and collaborators, and then to innovate, to catalyze industry-relevant research and thought leadership that leads to innovation, to demonstrate, provide a sophisticated digital manufacturing technology demonstration facility that all of our members and partners and students, collaborators can come and learn from. And then lastly, to educate, of course, because we're a university, we want to expand the talent pipeline via our advanced manufacturing degree programs and in-demand workforce training programs.
So one of the things that had to change for this to work is there was a cultural shift. So this is a collaboration, not just so that historically, industry and academic institutions tended to work in a little bit different space. So the intent to bring this all together requires kind of a shift in thinking. So this is very collaborative. It's industry collaborating with the academic institution, collaborating with government agencies to make an ecosystem in which the industry can thrive, the academic institutions can be thought leaders to driving advances in that manufacturing space for sustainability, for diversity, for talent development, and to make it so that the government sector can also benefit as well. So all of society grows and is elevated through this collaborative effort.
So what does that ecosystem look like for us? So at the CSI, we have a variety of partners who are at the table. Major companies and contributors like Rockwell, We Energies, Fortinet, A.O. Smith, Revere Electric, Heartland Business Systems, WEDC, as I mentioned, Microsoft, Ansys, PTC, Cisco, Dell, Fanuc. You see a lot of these tech companies, they're enablers of digital manufacturing transformation. And then, of course, we have the individuals at the table, students, faculty, different industry leaders, thought leaders, and a lot of different collaborators like the tech colleges and different manufacturing alliances who've all come to the table to help us think through how do we best serve our manufacturers and how do we best create that talent pipeline.
So some of the areas of research interest are digital twins, and digital twinning being a category, not a particular type of technology. Internet of Things, we're expanding that whole thinking into applications that can serve industry and make them more competitive and make them more effective and expand the capability of their resources. Data analytics and artificial intelligence. We're exploring new fields through putting manufacturing systems in place that can be used to apply artificial intelligence to and make better decisions around maintenance, around production performance, around system capabilities. Cybersecurity is huge. It's a huge impediment in the area of adoption, because as things get more connected, people get more concerned about the cybersecurity risk. So CSI is covering that space with a very in-depth application. Integrated robotics, we have all different types of robotics from the standard 6-axis to collaborative to Delta to Zacaria, and how they're integrated and how they're programmed varies. And we're showing all those different types of applications. We're also tying in the School of Business with digital supply chains, and then we're also including sensors and smart devices, so we can bring all of this together into complete systems that make real world applications that can be democratized across industry in Wisconsin. So we break this into 7 fundamental layers, and we did this for a number of reasons. One is there are some things that are going to be familiar to manufacturing, the first 2 layers being production assets and the production line, pretty standard around automation and automation systems. Then we started adding OT, IT networking, data centers, MES, CMMS, QMS systems. So this is all your operational layer. The advanced learning and enhanced reality sections. That's a whole nother layer of skills. And then enterprise, which is usually heavily embedded in the business sector. There's 2 reasons for this. This is how we would build the system. This is also the type of talent that we need to facilitate this type of learning. So it's a fully vetted, fully functional enterprise view of how you go and transform your operations.
And all of that's being done in a 10,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility that we have right in the center of UW-Milwaukee's campus. We'd love for any of you to come visit. Please check in with me afterward if you'd like to come by. One of the showcases in our facility is our manufacturing test bed. This is a fully functional state-of-the-art test bed that Rockwell and a number of our other partners helped us build. I'll let Joe tell you about the capabilities, but we're really excited about this because it basically demonstrates all of those 7 layers that Joe just described.
So what the test bed is it's a fully functional manufacturing line. It's designed to be a order quantity of 1 delivery system. It is in effect a highly correlative, high density data generator so that we can apply all the other technologies on top of it. You have to have a functional structural data set in order to really prove out all the other technologies that are going to make up Industry 4.0. So this is the key centerpiece of it. Included in this is is independent cart technology, which is linear motors. Each product that travels along this line is serialized. There can be multiple products made at the same time. There's embedded quality testing that goes on. There's a range of process control. There's fluid flow. There's a range of material handling. There's high resolution vision systems. They're all integrated into a complete system that all the data associated with any product that comes off can travel along with that product and be used to analyze the effectiveness of the system. It's also going to be used as a platform for a range of capstone projects, because as with any system, there can always be improvements. There are literally hundreds of capstone projects that can be performed on this platform. In addition, there's a digital twin of this, so we can effectively have 32 different students working on this system at the same time without getting in each other's way and without negatively impacting the performance of this machine. You should come to see it. Everybody can get a chance to run it. It's actually a lot of fun. You can mix colors. My daughter has mixed colors on the machine and had a little bit of fun with it. But we highly encourage you to come visit. I'm there most of the time. Jennifer's there most of the time. We can always arrange a tour.
So we wouldn't be a university without our educational programming, and we've broken this into two buckets, and one's around what our workforce needs and what our student needs. So we're working on several different workforce pathways right now, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a moment, but really the flagship workforce program is our digital manufacturing leadership pathway. And then we're also working on an integrated robotics pathway. We're actually using some FANUC curriculum for that, and a Microsoft Azure for manufacturing excellence pathway. And then we're planning a new one in OT cybersecurity. So these will all be available for individuals in our community to take non-credit. We're also trying to do some new innovative degree programming at UWM that focus on Industry 4.0 and digital transformation. So we'll have in the fall, it's digital supply chain master's degree, and a master's degree in connected systems will be not far behind that. We're actually working with our industry partners to inform the curriculum in those master's degree programs to make sure that we're getting it right. And then we're also looking at some certificate programs, and we have right now at least 20 specialized courses that relate to connected systems. Why is that important? Because right now in Southeast Wisconsin, if you look at the 13 institutions of higher education, we're producing about 3,500 individuals with degrees in IT, manufacturing, and STEM per year right now. That has grown by about 500 over the last five years, but it's still not enough to meet our market demand for manufacturing, especially high-tech manufacturing. We looked at what it took Arlington, Virginia to land Amazon in their community, and Amazon wanted individuals with computer science degrees, same as what our manufacturers want here in Wisconsin. They were able to offer 10,000 individuals with computer science degrees a year. We're only producing 1,100 of those in Southeast Wisconsin right now per year. So we really need to ramp this up. This is why this is very important. If we want to land a big fish, if we want to bring a big manufacturing tech company into Southeast Wisconsin, we have to focus on this, and our partners in higher ed, we're all working together to try to solve that. And the way that we're doing that is working together to try to level up our advanced manufacturing talent pipeline. There's a number of initiatives underway where different institutions of higher ed are working together, technical colleges, private institutions, public institutions. We're all talking about this. How do we do this together? How do we bring kids from as young as middle school, K-12, strengthen that talent pipeline, bring them into our technical college system, make sure that not only are they enrolling, but completing those programs in IT, STEM, manufacturing, that bringing those individuals into our bachelor's degree programs, trying to make sure that we're getting as much transfer opportunity as possible, because a lot of those students who finish technical degrees decide that they want to go on and get a 4-year degree. How do we make that seamless for them through articulation agreements, seamless transfer agreements between our institutions? And then lastly, if somebody finishes a bachelor's degree and decides they want to go back to school and get a master's degree, making sure that our employers are providing flexible scheduling, flexible workplace policies so that they can support that additional learning. For those young kids, those kids in high school, we've got to have a strong marketing and recruitment strategy that talks about how manufacturing is cool, especially when you think about the digital aspects of it. And then when students are in technical college or in their 4-year degree program, give them earn and learn opportunities, have them work hands-on, have them work at an employer, and have them do their capstone at Rockwell or one of our other partners so that they're learning and earning at the same time. And then lastly, when somebody is in the workplace, providing a nice series of upskilling and reskilling opportunities so those individuals can really maximize their career and maximize their income. So we're pretty excited about some of the work that's going on around this. There's some major federal grant writing that's going on, and hopefully in the next couple of years we'll start to see this come together with UWM and Rockwell, obviously major players in those discussions. So as I mentioned, we have 3 online pathways that are in development right now: robotics, Azure manufacturing, digital manufacturing leadership. I want to do just a little dive into our digital manufacturing leadership course. This course has been sponsored by WEDC. They've actually funded our development of it. And it's one of a kind. Nobody's tried doing a course quite like this before. We're pretty excited about it. Joe is actually one of our subject matter experts. We're using industry subject matter experts to design the course. It's 9 online modules. Each module is about an hour to an hour and a half. Each module takes 1 week. There's a weekly discussion board involved and some digital roundtable sessions with those subject matter experts. It involves a visit to our CSI facility to learn in place, has a capstone project. You get a digital badge if you take it, and you get some access to our test bed and lab exercises afterward, access to our case studies. So before I jump into the details of what's in the course, I just want Joe to briefly touch on kind of the audience that we're getting at with this course and why we think this is so important.
So the audience for this course is, as you know, and Jennifer mentioned it before, is you have to have leadership. Leadership is going to drive everything. So about 85% of the companies that have attempted to dive into Industry 4.0 or advanced digital manufacturing have failed to reach the potential or failed to reach the promise that the project made. Most of the reason was for that is because the leadership was not fully engaged. The wrong people, or they didn't have the right team put in place. They didn't have an understanding of the correct talent that was going to be required and the collaboration that was going to be required with partners. So part of what this program is to give a sense of what that transformation is going to look like, how it's going to feel, what type of impediments you're going to run up against, and what success is going to look like. And so it's kind of a consultative effort. It's designed for business leadership, particularly in the small and medium-sized businesses, and it's intended to take some of the fear out of taking the first step into that process.
So as Joe mentioned, it's really primarily aimed at small and medium manufacturers, and the reason for that is that they've been slower to adopt. And a lot of we can use some of the expertise around our OEMs and our larger manufacturers to kind of help inform and engage those small and medium manufacturers in digital adoption. So as I mentioned, the course has 9 modules, and it's starting with an introductory module where an individual will actually take a readiness assessment, which will help frame how they participate in the rest of the course. Then we'll go over the business benefits and the business case for digital transformation, and then walk through that architecture of a connected system, kind of that 7-layer salad that Joe walked through before, and followed by a digital roundtable with our subject matter experts. Then we'll go into a module on digital supply chain, followed by foundations of reliability, the systems and processes related to that, followed by change management, because we all know you can't implement any new thing in a company without knowing how to effectively manage change. And then there'll be another digital roundtable to discuss those topics. And then there will be a module on enhanced operations and governance, which includes a visit to the facility, so you can learn from your cohort, learn together, meet each other, network, followed by IoT-enabled analysis and actions, and develop. The last module is working through a return on investment tool and creating an implementation strategy that you can take back to your company, with a final roundtable and capstone presentation. So we're pretty excited about the course. We're going to be rolling it out in January, and we'll be looking for our first cohort here over the next month or so. As I mentioned, Joe is one of our subject matter experts, and we're using a number of other subject matter experts who are industry recognized leaders in these topics. So we think it's going to be pretty exciting. And then, so we mentioned some of these outcomes already, and if you'd like to connect with us about that course or any of the other information we provided here today, certainly grab us afterward. And Joe and I are very happy to take your questions. His question was, how do you get small and medium businesses to undertake this digital transformation? Does it require a change of mindset? Does it
change of process?
A change in process.
Product itself. In
Yeah.
some sense or the other.
And it does.
Behavior changes.
It requires
All of the above.
all of the above, really.
Yeah.
There has to be an understanding that the business environment is changing. The way they're engaging with their customers is changing. The demand from the customers, if you're making commodities, your customers are going to be asking for more information that are pertinent to what you produced, so that they can better forecast what they're doing. So there's collaboration that's going to happen that historically may not have. There's a sense of the old supplier end user concept is essentially going to disappear. It's going to be partnerships, and it's going to have to be partnerships. So all of what you're saying, all those different areas have to be addressed. And there's a question in leadership of what is this going to look like? So what we're doing with this is just giving that first step into it, what this is going to look like, how you might want to think about it, because it's how you think about it is what's going to affect the change. Right? It's not going to be, hey, I'm just going to change one process and the world's end. It's no longer an event. It's a continuous way of thinking. It's a cultural shift that's going to have to occur.
Yeah, and Rockwell and others have done studies on this topic and found that about 3/4 of manufacturers haven't taken serious steps forward on digital transformation right now. And I think, I've talked to Yella from WEDC and others about this quite a bit, our MEP as well. And, it really starts with awareness and then willingness. And that taking that step toward willingness and really wanting to do this is, I think, what might bring somebody into a course like this that we're developing, having a curiosity about it, because it can be very overwhelming when you think about all of these different components that it might take, and not all of them will pay off for every company, but we can help you figure out which ones will by coming up with that return on investment and hopefully taking some of the fear out of the decision making, and just helping enable people to move forward with managing that change.
And part of what's going on also is with CSI being an entity in which we're going to be doing applied research. The applied research is going to drive the risk out of applying these technologies to industrial scenarios. So by taking the risk out, you're driving the cost down, and that will make it more accessible to smaller, medium-sized businesses. So we're trying to make it more methodical and less experimental. Right? That's a big part of the thought leadership that a university like UW-M is engaged in, and that's why the partnerships between industry and academia is so vitally important.
Right, and we have about 10,000 small and medium manufacturers here in Wisconsin, I believe. Is that about right, Yella? 10,000 something? 9,300? Yep. So, there's a lot. There's a pretty big marketplace for this, and I think, like anything, it takes time, to get through this adoption. But one of the major federal grants that we've recently applied for is about just what Joe said, making these technologies more accessible, more affordable for small and medium manufacturers, again, so that it's not as difficult to adopt them.
Right, and the CSI is fully equipped to do a broad range of research. Cybersecurity is usually one of the biggest impediments for particularly small and medium-sized businesses. Historically, many of those have islands of automation that aren't necessarily networked, so they don't feel they have that risk. The fact that when they want to fully automate, take advantage of these technologies, the networking is a necessity. It becomes part of the infrastructure. So now it's a risk-benefit type question. CSI is producing as a cybersecurity curriculum that's going to be available that is primarily focused on OT, also has the IT integration, so you'll be able to see the entirety of the system. We also have implemented a system there that follows best practice for industrial networks. So the students will be learning on a properly configured to network, and it will give them the right knowledge that we needed for transforming or moving another company forward.
Sorry about this loud. I just wanted to add that probably one of the biggest value adds in this experience is the access to both roundtables where you're learning from your peers, because so often we hear from manufacturers that they want to better understand how other manufacturers have gone through this, and the aspect of the hands-on physical environment where you can kind of see it in action. And that takes us way beyond a typical curriculum.
And we heard that loud and clear. We actually have a small and medium manufacturer advisory council, and we kind of vetted our design of this course with that group. And that was one of the pieces of feedback that we received. They wanted to learn from their peers, and they wanted to make sure that they had that opportunity to sort of learn from other people's failures and experiences and best practices. And so that's why we've designed this that way, and also with Yella's encouragement. So we think that's a great aspect of the course.
Any other questions?
Anybody else? Well, thank you so much for joining us today. As you can tell, we've got a great partnership here. Joe and I work together pretty much every day. Michael, Yella, others. We've got a really great network of individuals who are trying to figure this out, and glad that you were able to learn about it. So thanks for coming.